Hello friends, welcome to educators.com. I am Preeti Rathi. In last video we have discussed about if-else statement. Now in this video we will continue with if-else statement having different options like nesting of if-else statement and if-else ladder. So the topics which we are going to cover in this video will be nesting of if-else statement, logical operator, if-else ladder and conditional operator. Now what is nesting of if-else statement? If we have one if-else inside another if-else statement, then we can call it as a nesting of if-else statement. This will be required when we want to come to some conclusion depending on multiple conditions. For example, if marks are greater than 60, greater than or equal to 60, but then we want to check out about the sports grade. So we will have another condition inside this if block, that is if sports grade equal to A, then we'll conclude that congratulations, you are in first class. If sports grade is not A, then we will display congratulations but improve in sports. Suppose marks itself are not in this range, that is not greater than equal to 60, then control will directly jump to the else part, giving study properly. So this way we can have multiple if-else nesting possible. For example, if there are multiple conditions depending on which we can conclude something, so we can have one more if-else inside this if, inside inner if. Even we can have if-else in else part also. But if there are more conditions, then it becomes difficult to have nesting of the if-else, as it is not manageable. So we have another alternative for the same, that is logical operator. Using logical operator, we can club multiple conditions. There are three logical operators we have: and, or and not. And gives true if both conditions are true. Or gives true if at least one condition is true. Not will reverse the condition. Means if the condition is true, it will make it false, and if it is false, it will make it as a true. So logical expression is an expression which uses one or more logical operators. Here few more examples are given. For example, if temperature is greater than 90 and humidity is greater than 0.9, then we'll conclude on something. Similarly, in the second example, not is used to reverse the condition. Like n is less than equal to 0 or n is greater than equal to 100. Then if this condition is true, then it will reverse it to make it as a false. If it is false, it will make it as a true. So this logical operator can be used to combine multiple conditions, and we can avoid nesting of if-else. Then we have if-else ladder. If there are many alternatives, then it is better to use the syntax of multiple alternative decision, that is if-else ladder, where at every step we have facility to check the condition using if statement. For example, if condition 1 is true, then do something. Else, if again check the condition, if that is true, then do something. Else, again we can check the condition using if, and if that is true, then do something. Otherwise it will come to the else part. So this way we can use if-else ladder. Then next we have conditional operator, where we have expression 1 question mark, expression 2 colon, expression 3. If expression 1 is true, that is value is non-zero, then the value returned will be the expression 2. Otherwise the value returned will be expression 3. For example, if we are reading some value from end user as a x variable, then if we have this statement, that is y equal to, if x is greater than 5, then it will return 3. If not, then it will return 4, and that will be assigned to y. So this is equivalent to the if statement, like if x is greater than 5, then y equal to 3, else y equal to 4. So this way we can use conditional operator for small expressions. Now we will check out all these examples practically. Now if we want to take the input from end user, that is marks and sports grade. So we will have integer marks and character sport grade. Now we will display printf to enter the value. Enter marks and sport grade. Now that value we can read using scanf. %d for integer, that is marks, and %c for character, that is sports grade. Then we'll have ampersand marks and ampersand sport grade. Now we'll check out how to use if-else, nesting of the if-else. That is, we will first find out if marks are greater than equal to 60, then we want to check out the another condition, that is if sport grade is equal to A, then we'll conclude that congrats, you are in first class. Now if sports grade is not A, then else part we want to display that congrats but improve in sports. Now this whole if else will be the part of outer if, so we can club it with this curly bracket. Then in else part, when the condition is false, that is marks is not greater than or equal to 60, then we want to display that study properly. Now we'll execute this. So it is asking for marks, so I'll enter 70 and say grade is A. So we'll get congrats, you are in first class. If I'll execute this again and I'll give marks which are more, that is say 80, but the grade is say B, then it will come to else part of inner if, that is congrats but improve in sports. If the marks itself are less, then it will directly jump to the else part, say 30, and now this grade we are not checking, still it will come to study properly. So this way we can use if else ladder. Now as we have discussed, we can increase this ladder till any level. Suppose I have some other scenario, that is the marks of second exam or something like this, then I can go for if else nesting till any level. But as we have discussed, this can be made easier using logical operator. That is, I'll have marks greater than equal to 60 and the another condition is sport grade is equal to A. If both conditions are true, then we want to conclude that congrats, you are in first class. So this way we can club both the condition. Now in else part, we have to again write both the condition. In this case, we have to again write the else part. That is, we will have else if, and again we can have marks less than 60, or here the condition is again greater than equal to 60, and sport grade is not equal to A, then we'll say congrats but improve in sports. Now in else part we can again check for the marks, that is else if marks are less than 60, then we'll say study properly. So this way we can club multiple condition using logical operator, that is and, or and not operator. So if I'll execute this now, and if I'll enter some marks 70 and A grade, so we'll come to congrats, you are in first class. If I'll give marks are more but grade is something else, then we'll get congrats but improve in sports. And if the marks are itself less, like 30, then whatever is grade but we'll get study properly. So this way we can use logical operator. Now the next thing is if else ladder. Now if else ladder we can use to have multiple conditions on some variable. For example, if suppose we want to check out the grade of student or marks of student, and for multiple scenario we have different conclusion. For example, if sport grade equal to A, if it is A, then we want to print A grade in sports. Else again I want to check out the condition, that is if the sport grade is equal to B, then we want to display printf B grade in sports. And if it is C, then again we got a condition that else if sport grade is equal to C, it should be given in a single quote because it is a character value, and then we'll come to conclusion that C grade in sports. But if all these grades are not given, means A, B and C is not given, then we can conclude that enter proper grade. So this is called as if else ladder, where we are going to have some condition using if on every step. If I'll execute this, now in this case I am not reading or using the value of marks, it can be anything, but suppose I'll enter B, it will display B grade in sport. If I'll execute this and display something randomly, then it will give enter proper grade. If I'll execute this and I'll enter A grade, then it will give relevant output. So this way we can use if else ladder. Now the last point was conditional operator. Now as we have seen, conditional operator can be executed in one statement. For example, suppose I have a variable, say integer y, and I have something like this, assign the value. Now in condition we have that marks greater than 60, then this is after this question mark. If it is greater, then we'll conclude 1, that is true, else we'll give 0. So that value we can assign to y, and then we can print y over here, that is new line y equal to %d, and we'll display value of y. So now if I'll execute this, and if I'll enter 80 marks and A grade, so the output will be y equal to 1, because 80 is greater than 60. So this way we can use conditional operator. So as we have discussed, it is nothing but if else, where this part before question mark goes as a if condition. If condition is true, this part will be displayed, else the alternative part will be returned. So this way we can use conditional operator. So in this video we have discussed what is nesting of if else, then logical operator which will solve the nesting problem and which will make it easy to read and maintain. Then we have discussed if else ladder and conditional operator. Now in next video we'll discuss about switch, which is another control structure. Thank you.